know that the day is Friday? One, you see people in the hall and they say Happy Friday. That's certainly a tell. And then also, I feel like around here, you can tell it's Friday based off of what people wear.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Mia walked in. She's like, I'm glad you did casual Friday. And I was like, I always do. I would do casual every day if I could, personally.
For those who are not watching, Lauren is in a dress. Taylor and I are very much in sports apparel and ball caps right now. So just so the record is clear for those of you not live streaming, either on YouTube, X, or Facebook.
One of us had to go visit a client this morning before the show, so casual Friday does not apply there. All right, let's get it to the Jaguars and how many starters did they draft from the 2025 class? I think the most obvious answer is clearly Travis Hunter is a starter.
Yeah.
100% starter on offense. I don't think he'll start on defense. I think he will take snaps on defense, probably. And if you go read Ty Dunn's article that I referenced yesterday, he specifically says he'll do third downs, red zone, 2-minute drills.
Yeah.
So that's the plan, at least as of now, that Liam Cohen and the staff, Anthony Campanelli, have for Travis Hunter on defense. But 100% Travis Hunter starting on offense. No disagreement there, right?
No, that's the argument, I think, for many Jaguar fans and for many NFL grading analysts as they look back at the 2025 NFL draft. Did the Jaguars only get one starter who will be a starter in 2025? I think that they were able to acquire plenty of players who will be in the rotation in 2025 and starters in 2026 and beyond.
Right, contributors will call
Correct,
those, yeah.
But the argument of you only have one plug-and-play guy and you had so many holes you needed to address. But Taylor, that goes to a different point of, yes, we believe there are holes, but if only in name. There are other names that are currently ahead of them on the depth chart, if only because of recency and having already been on the roster.
Yeah, and that's, I think, to me, and some people may criticize that in general, the way the draft kind of went down, the ones that aren't full on the Travis Hunter train more so, not that they drafted Travis Hunter, but the capital they gave up for Travis Hunter. And I think some people are saying, well, you only got one starter in 2 rounds then because of that. But I do think that eventually you will see him on both sides of the ball at some period of time. But I also think if you're talking about getting one of the best wide receivers in this draft, definitely the best wide receiver in this draft, but one of the best wide receivers in the NFL potentially, then in a few years you're not going to care about that. And that's what I keep telling people. I get being a little hesitant on certain aspects right now, but you can't really fully judge anything at this moment. But when you're looking at the Jags roster, and I know we're going to continue on with how many we think, but I think heads right away, Travis Hunter is going to be a starter. So there's no hesitation there, and that's going to be your wide receiver number 2 and a very good wide receiver number 2. He would be one on some rosters in the NFL.
Yeah, if other teams had drafted him, teams that don't have a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., he absolutely would be wide receiver 1. For me, it's a clear number of 3 starters. I have 3 guys, Travis Hunter included in that group, of course, that are going to start for this football team. My other 2 starters are drafted right after Travis Hunter. In Caleb Branshaw, who we certainly discussed at length yesterday, the safety. I believe he will start at safety. And then offensive lineman Wyatt Milam, I believe he will start at left guard.
Yeah, I think it's still a little too early to tell what this new regime thinks of the pieces they inherited. And I think Liam Cohen's done a great job of, certainly saying, while we invite competition at every single spot on the roster and every single spot on the depth chart, we do want to see what we have first. Much like the 5th-year option with Devin Lloyd, though, they wanted to see what they had, even though we all kind of had an idea where things were headed.
Yeah, now, they told us they like Trayvon Walker. They're not sure about Devin Lloyd so far.
Right, exactly. Now, with that said, I don't know how they feel about Ezra Cleveland, who certainly was a favorite of the previous regime, someone who fits an outside zone running scheme and is certainly a more athletic, get out in space offensive lineman as opposed to playing in a phone booth, smash mouth, north to south type of lineman. But with that said, we're going to have a very special guest coming up in the 1 o'clock hour to break down Bhayshul Tuten from up in Virginia Tech from his time with the Hokies. And that's kind of been the calling card for Bhayshul Tuten has been he's a pretty good outside zone runner, so he would give you a different dimension compared to what certainly LaKent Allen, who we heard more about yesterday from E.J. Snyder, what he's going to give you, what Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby already give you.
So we could platoon the left guard?
No.
Like if you bring in Tuten, then you bring in Cleveland.
I'm not insulting my audience's intelligence here. The point being, I don't know what type of run scheme they're going to be operating behind. I don't know. They might be multiple. You would hope they are because you don't want to be predictable. That was the biggest critique of the previous regime. But with that said, that also plays into what type of offensive lineman you are acquiring. And so that's where I think it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to write Ezra Cleveland as, he's on the trade block because I don't have any intel on that. And I think Wyatt Milam's going to push him. Ultimately, we have to remember, for these rookies to come into the National Football League and immediately win a starting spot, that doesn't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
By the way, there was a point in time, I forget who the players were, but there was a point in time that the Jaguars did platoon one of their offensive linemen, and everyone around the NFL was like, what is happening? You only take offensive linemen out when they're injured. Like, this is ridiculous.
Quickly off the text line, Design My Lifetime Enclosures, which, of course, we invite you guys into the conversation at 904-641-1010. This is from our friend 669 down in the AUG. Think about it like this. We got a first-round plug-and-play wide receiver. We got a first-round plug-and-play corner. That is 2 starters right off the top, even if it is the same human being.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's difficult for me because I wouldn't count him as a starter on both sides of the ball yet. Personally, I don't think we're going to. And if you are asking that, that's wild. If you're asking him to start at corner and start at wide receiver right away,
I don't think they're doing that.
Yeah, me either. And but to me, I have 3, and I listed 3, but I do think that mine is more hopeful than what I think. I hope that there's I hope 3 of those guys, and the same ones with Ransom, Milam, and Hunter, because that means that you've upgraded that position. And I've been saying for months that I don't like the safety room at all, and I don't like the offensive line room. Even with Hainsey and Macari added, I was not confident at all that that was an upgrade from last year. So to me, if Milam beats out Ezra Cleveland or whatever they end up doing with that side of the thing, and if Ransaw ends up starting, then that means to me, because I'm not big on Eric Murray either, that means that you've improved both of those rooms in my eyes. So that is what I'm hoping. If it doesn't happen, then that means to me that you haven't improved those rooms too much, and I'm a little bit concerned heading into week 1 then.
If it's not Eric Murray, who's the other safety if Ransaw's starting at safety?
If it's not Murray, well, that's what I'm saying. If Ransaw played for Eric Murray or whatever the case, I don't know what they want to do, because even on the ESPN one, they saw him as a nickel corner, but we've heard them say they want to be safety. And then the other one's Savage. So do they move Savage around a little bit more, and he's starting there? But I'm not huge on either of those. I think Savage is okay. I don't like Eric Murray. So I think that when you go into this, to me, if Ransaw comes in and beats those guys out, then you've improved that area.
2 things. One, they like Eric Murray.
Oh, I know they do. Yeah. Obviously, they brought him in. I said I don't. That's why I said hopeful for week 1.
Number 2. Oh, no. Here she goes again. The ESPN depth chart is concocted by our good friend Mike DeRocco. So, with all due respect to D-Rock, he's trying to fit names onto a software system.
Yeah, and that's why I just said I didn't believe, this is wrong. Right. Because if you go to the other one, if you go to the outlet with the Our Lads one, it's completely different on that. So, we don't know yet, because they haven't even gone to camp with these guys to see where exactly they're going to be. You are not going to have an official depth chart on May 2nd. I know that.
Sure.
So, this is me predicting, but me also saying, hopefully, that and I know they like Eric Murray. They just paid him and they're high on him. That's somebody that Gladstone specifically wanted to bring in here. I just didn't see a lot from him this last year to make it seem like it's an upgrade in that room to the level that they needed.
Yeah, to me, as we sit here today, I think it will be Tyson Campbell and Jarian Jones on the outside, Jordan Lewis as the nickel corner, and Caleb Ranson, Eric Murray as the starting safeties. That's from everything as far as gathering what the moves that they've made to this point in time, who they've drafted. That's what I believe the starting secondary will look like. But we also haven't been out to practice yet. And so we have no idea what these battles are going to look like. All right, so for me, it's Travis Hunter, Caleb Ransaw, Wyatt Milam. For you, Taylor, it was Travis Hunter, Caleb Ransaw.
Yeah, and Milam too.
And Milam as well. Yeah. And yours are?
Travis Hunter, Ransaw by midseason, the latest.
Okay, but Milam's not necessarily a starter yet. Okay. All right,
yet. And then maybe they trade Ezra at the deadline, and maybe that's where that opens up a spot.
Okay. Here, for me, the contributors, and this list is long. Bhayshul, Tuten, Jack Kaiser, Jalen McLeod, Rayan Lane, LeKent Allen. And then back up, I have Jonah Monheim. I do think all of those guys in that contributor category are absolutely going to see the field. They may not necessarily start, but as we all know, in football, you're going to play more than 11 guys on offense and more than 11 guys on defense. And so I think a lot of their rookies we will see snaps from.
Well, I think the bigger conversation is that the expectation is all 9 draft picks will make the 53-man roster because they were selected by this regime. And that's where, okay, well, if you're going to add 9 guys, yes, the roster stood at 59 before the draft weekend, and you also added 20 undrafted free agent rookies. Where are you subtracting some names? And so that's where I think it's an even larger conversation, which we may have to get to next week. But ultimately, yes, I think that those other 6 picks will be somehow in the mix. Maybe Monheim ends up being more of a practice squad, or that 10th offensive lineman who's inactive on game days and he's a developmental guy. That's the only one that I say he may not play this year.
Right.
Other than that, I think they're all going to have some sort of role year one.
Yeah, but, the linebacking core is fascinating.
Yeah.
That's one that, I mean, like we've said, they've overhauled almost every different position group. The linebacking core, I can't quite figure out how it's going to be, other than I know for sure Foya Lewikin's going to be on the field. But, could Jack Kaiser start at points this season? I think absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why I asked EJ about that yesterday, because when I look at the depth chart, and we've had Devin Lloyd, it doesn't seem like they're incredibly high on him because they didn't want to have that 5th-year option. But maybe they can find a place where he can, had the conversation the other day of just kind of focus on one thing, and then they want to keep him on the roster for just that pass rush or whatever they want him on the field for. Foye, Foye is going to be the guy that hands down is going to be on the football field. And then behind that, and that's why I asked EJ about Chad Muma and Ventrell, how he feels about those 2 players, where they fit, because then it is Jack Kaiser and then McLeod behind him. And so it's how much are they actually going to see if it kind of remains how it's been the last couple years, which I don't feel like that, because I don't feel like this regime's coming in here and seeing anything they absolutely love in that room. And that is why they drafted 2 more guys, and that is why they did not give the 5th-year option to Devin Lloyd.
Well, I think a lot of it is McLeod would be their replacement for Yasir Abdullah, where he's going to play special teams. He's maybe your edge 4, or at least a designated pass rusher, plays a little off-ball linebacker as well. Did you consider him part of the linebacker room last year under Ryan Nielsen? I think is where the numbers game comes in, because I did not, his first season with the club, I did last year knowing that he would be playing a little bit more off-ball linebacker. Of course, we hoped he would be maybe be an edge rusher. Maybe they would have an edge rusher, and they did not. And so that's where I think a lot of this comes down to, well, yes, I think Jalen McLeod is going to be a Swiss Army knife, and he's going to do a couple different things for you. Is he replacing Abdullah? Because if that's the case, all right, well, is that counting towards the number count in the linebacker room or in the edge room, where currently, as it stands, yes, you have Miles Cole, the 7th-round rookie from last year, but otherwise you got the 2 entrenched starters and Emmanuel Agba. And outside of that, you don't have a whole heck of a lot.
So maybe that's what they do. And that is, the special teams is a whole other area, because I do think that I could see Jack Kaiser playing a good role on the special teams too. So I was more so talking, I was more so talking about the offense defensive starters specifically.
Yeah. We weren't going to break down is there going to be a battle at returner?
I do want to break down, LOL. I do want to get to one more off the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures from 365. Milam, Ransaw, and Hunter will likely start, but I think that Allen and Tuten could end up taking more snaps from Travis Etienne. Tuten and Allen will eventually take Etienne's place.
I mean, there are obviously a lot of people that were wondering if the Jaguars took Ashton Genty, what's the future for Travis Etienne at that point in time? But because they did not, I don't think Travis Etienne has been replaced. What happens this season as far as how the snaps go for the 4 running backs? And sorry, Keelan Robinson, but I do think you're probably on the outside looking in at this point in time. I have no idea how that's going to go. That rotation of running back is going to be fun to watch. I learned something yesterday. We have talked about Jack Bech on this program so much, and rightfully so. I had forgotten that Jack Bech started at LSU and then transferred to TCU. So you know who he used to be teammates with? Mason Smith, Brian Thomas Jr., and the likes of Malik Neighbors.
He had more catches than Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors their freshman year.
Yeah.
That's so wild that these
crazy.
Guys here are close to Jack Bech.
Oh, yeah.
I would love one day to
That's why that
ask them
Jack
about
Bech
him.
name was probably also being floated. So
I
much.
don't know how I missed that, but I did. All right, I want to talk more about Travis Hunter on the other side, and also Taylor's guy Xavier Leggett is at the Kentucky Derby, and we will do a little bit better job letting you know who the horses will be in the 2025 Kentucky Derby than maybe one Jeff Prosser. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
Duval. This is former Jaguars corner Aaron Beasley. You're listening to 1010 XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Home of the Jaguars. It's a Helmets and Heels. Lee and Kate's Glass, Friday.
John Haney here for Clearwater. And I know I'm always joking around, but this is a serious time for our coach and our team. So if you need a sprinkler system, a French drain, or seamless gutters, and you live in Duval County, then give us a call today.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers. And drainage too.
Duval.
ClearwaterJags.com.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner with honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
Tired of wrestling with your shower curtain like it's a fight for the last slice of pizza? Ditch the drama and say hello to a smooth, stylish glass shower enclosure from Baker Glass. Wago Glass is clean, elegant, and makes your bathroom look huge and brighter. Give your shower a makeover and feel like you're in a spa without the price tag. I'm Mac at Baker Glass. Call me and get ready to love your new shower. Let's make your shower great again. Remember, Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler, and this Mother's Day, we'd like to help you celebrate Mom with up to 40% off our entire inventory. GIA-certified natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds, beautiful colored gemstones, designer brands, custom jewelry design, and Monahan Jewelers offers interest-free financing on any purchase, so get something special with a payment you can afford. Come celebrate Mom with fine jewelry at up to 40% off at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Denny Thompson here. You got to check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
I'm Hacker, and I'll get you more Gator Chomps during the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. New episodes drop every Friday. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists, and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zero Res a call. May Mayhem 3-room special start at $149, plus the 4th room is free. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and tell them 1010XL sent you.
1010 10XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
We've seen what you've done in college. What can Jaguar fans expect to see from you when you take the field here?
Just me being myself and having fun, and they're going to love me. I'm just go out there and just do my thing as best I could.
Have you set up a fishing trip yet?
No, but I might go fishing tomorrow, Saturday. Yeah, I might go fishing Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Oh, those are the comments of Travis Hunter with Kai Stevens. Kai will join us on Monday to recap the draft, and obviously she gets to chat with all these guys one-on-one, so that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, Travis Hunter is just so relaxed and funny. I feel like rookies aren't normally, Mia, this easygoing when they first get to the NFL.
You're burying the lead. He was definitely fishing before he was pictured at the ale house on the avenues a couple days ago. Come on now. Now everything, it makes sense.
I didn't know he was fishing.
Well, that's all I'm saying. It has to be, right? I'm just connected. I have no idea if he was.
I have no idea.
I'm just speculating.
I thought you saw a picture of him fishing before the
No, I'm saying, what else would you do?
With his draft hat on.
You go to ale house after a day of fishing. Duh.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I know it's. Yeah, I love it. He just has that personality here that it's very likable. He's always smiling and happy, and I feel like you've had moments of players here where people like the personalities because of like a Minshew, for example, just kind of the wildness, or Bortles because the way Bortles was. But this is just a little different in the sense of he's just like, yeah, like I just want to fish every day and play football.
Do you think that our show being will eventually say Travis Hunter more than Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, it's a great question. And that's something we were debating in the media room the minute that he was drafted. This idea of a year from now, if you were to go to a bar in Wichita, Kansas, and you were to ask them to name a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars, do they say Trevor Lawrence or do they say Travis Hunter? And I think if only based off of the number of social media followers, certainly the Heisman Trophy, although Trevor was the runner-up for that, you can make the argument that their answer may be Travis Hunter by season's end. At this juncture, I think it's still Trevor. But there is a chance that 1 year from now, that answer shifts.
Yeah, I think that I wouldn't be surprised if we were talking, and that's not trying to throw any shade at Trevor. It's just more so when you have somebody that is playing two sides of the ball and you have someone who has that personality. And number one, especially if it happens right out of the gate, I think immediately, because Trevor's taken kind of 5 years for a lot of people to feel like, and at this point, if it goes off this year, people are going to be pumped, like, here we go, Trevor, this is the Trevor Lawrence we all knew. That could happen. But if all of a sudden, like right out of the gate, Travis Hunter is out there just like balling out, and you're seeing those, mixed in packages, and he gets an interception on one side, and everybody's rocking his jersey at that point, then it's going to be hard to not be that. And you're talking about him in multiple areas of the game, so it is a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched his highlights. We watched him live, obviously, the past couple of seasons at Colorado, but we've watched his highlights. I'm not going to pretend I watched him at Jackson State. I did not. But this guy is a playmaker when he's on the field. And so, yes, whether that's catching the ball, whether that's taking people away from Brian Thomas Jr., or on the opposite side of the field, he has a nose for the ball. He has grown up in a way that football is his entire life, and outside of fishing, obviously, which I did hear. I went back and watched some of the Colorado Pro Day, and Deion Sanders was getting interviewed, and he was talking about how much Travis Hunter loves to fish. And he's like, I mean, he's a really good fisherman. Now, we went fishing last weekend. I beat him, but he is a really good fisherman. I'm like, that's so classic.
You beat him.
Deion. Like, beat him fishing. Hasn't he caught more fish?
Oh.
That's what Deion was saying. Like, come on, Deion. It doesn't always have, not everything is a competition.
It is. And I saw a clip earlier because I sent you something that I think is going to be your pest of the day. But in the midst of that, I was looking at some other clips started coming up of people talking about him back in like February, March. And one of them was Urban Meyer. And Urban Meyer was going on, and he was, because they asked, like, do you think that he's going to be able to play both sides of the ball? And Urban Meyer was like, I really normally would never say this, but he's incredible. And he was like, he goes back and they're showing a clip from one of his games, and he was like, in this specific game, he was on like his 160th snap of the game, and he still was just, I think he got a pick on that specific play.
It was 100-degree heat.
Yeah. And so Urban was talking about that, and we've had the conversation, how ideal is that right away, because that is going to be the conversation of you're learning. You can't be in both meeting rooms at one time. It's going to be really difficult to learn both playbooks at one time. But once once you're on the team for a little while, I think you could kind of figure out a way. Obviously, he did it in college. This is a whole different level. But I do think that when you're talking about, he's just going to do something so rare that it's going to be somebody that is going to be talked about not just in Jacksonville, but everywhere. He's going to be on highlight reels because that's the type of person and player and position and everything that he can do.
On cue, one of the Heeligans is in Wichita, Kansas right now.
All right.
This is why I love you guys. Thank you, 805. Wichita, Kansas, represent, can vouch. Travis Hunter over Trevor Lawrence, easily.
There you have it. I mean, Trevor is going to, though, continue to skyrocket as far as popularity if he's getting a lot more touchdowns because he's throwing the ball to Travis Hunter. Like, the quarterback is clearly usually the face of the franchise. Patrick Mahomes is the face of the Chiefs, for sure. I don't know some of these teams that are in transition of quarterbacks. Like, I don't know if the Giants, I don't think Russell Wilson's the face of the Giants at this point in time.
And I wonder how much the conversation is going to be. It took having Travis Hunter and BTJ for Trevor to finally be good. And then it's going to be, I wouldn't say Joe Burrow because I think everybody always thought Joe Burrow was pretty good, but like in the Vikings world, when it comes to like Kirk Cousins, for example, they're like the only reason he had those numbers is because he had Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
But like look at Joe Burrow in college, who he was throwing the ball to.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Like, maybe Joe Burrow isn't, we all think he's really good and he is super talented, but he has always been surrounded by those guys. And there's nobody, if I'm a quarterback.
There's also not a problem.
I'm not apologizing for my weapons. Thank you for surrounding me with them.
Joe Burrow, his rookie season, which obviously was shortened due to injury, he did have trying moments. They had a bad season. And part of it, as we were talking about in the first segment, was a rookie coming into the National Football League. Yes, the quarterback position a little bit different than the safety position in the case of Caleb Branshaw, or the guard or tackle position, learning a new position in the case of Wyatt Milam. But this idea of for a rookie to come in and start and take the reins, takes a very special person to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Pest of the Day, let's just do it. Brought to you, as always, by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com, Terminix. They take care of the pest control for Everbank Stadium, for VyStar Ballpark, VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, so many of your favorite event venues around town, as well as the pests, termites, and mosquitoes at our house. Today's Pest of the Day is Colin Cowherd. RJ, take it away.
It's hard for me to have sympathy for some of these losing franchises. There's a reason the same teams draft at the top every year. So think about Jacksonville. They trade up in the draft. You don't even know your personnel good enough yet to make a massive trade. Travis Hunter is unbelievably talented, but you got to deal with that offense-defensive pivot thing. You got first-time GM, coach, coordinators. How about you go through a camp or two? How about just doing something smart? What are you doing taking massive swings on a player that it's going to be kind of hard to massage because he should be a receiver, but he wants to be a corner, and that's going to be a little tricky? Ugh.
Yeah, to you. I mean, to criticize a bold move, it's funny. If the Jaguars hadn't done it and taken, whether it's Mason Graham, Rashan Genty at 5, or any other player, Jalen Walker, fill in the blank, I feel like people would have criticized Jacksonville for not being bold. At the same time, like, I feel like the Jaguars just can't win.
Or it just would have been ho-hum. Here go the Jags.
Exactly.
Same old Jags.
So, and that is with this, first of all, he's an idiot. But I think that the reason that things have been so bad is because we've never had a regime to make swings like this. It's always been like, let's go with the safe thing. Right. Let's go with the traits. Let's go with this type of thing. This is the first time that I feel like we've truly made that, let's make this bold statement and go get the best player in the draft. The Jags have never done that unless they've just been sitting at number 1 and Trevor Lawrence fell into their lap and he was the best player in the draft. And so I think that is a little bit different than moving up and aggressively saying, hey, there's 3 really, really good players in this draft, and the best one, if we could move up to get right now at this point, why not? And I get the hesitation of like both sides and how they're going to handle that. That's going to be a conversation for that, but that's not a
good
bad
problem to have.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You have your problem is that you have a player that can play really high-end football at 2 different positions and help your team in multiple different ways. And it's not like Travis Hunter is one of the guys that is like super cocky and arrogant, and he's out there saying like, and there were the quotes floating around that he wouldn't go to a team if they were only going to let him play one position. I don't see him being that type of person. Like, I truly feel like if Liam Cohen and James Gladstone went to him and was like, we really like you at wide receiver, you're most beneficial there, this is where we want you, he would say, I'll do what I have to do. And I just feel like he's that type of personality. And so I just feel like they find ways to try and get mad at Jacksonville every year for whatever reason it is. But you're not going to ever get good if you don't have good players, and now you have a really good player.
And that's the same old Jags thing is what gets me. Like, you want to just dismiss them as that same old team that's picking at the top of the draft. So they do something different, and now they're crazy.
Yeah.
Also, they were picking 17th last year.
By the way.
That's how, and then they obviously traded back to get
number
Brian
one
Thomas
wide
Jr.,
receiver.
Yeah, so they aren't always at the top. Now, granted, I get it. This team has been losing for quite some time. But by the way, our friends at Big Chief Tire just let me know that they invited Travis Hunter on their annual company fishing
There we
trip.
go. Let's go.
Yes, so Travis, I'm sure we'll have a great time. They do a great job at Big Chief. All right, when we come back, we will get it to the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, I was teasing Prosser earlier because he was reading names from the Kentucky Derby from 2022. So listen to our picks. They are actually running that Kentucky Derby tomorrow evening. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Get a Gator baseball chomp on 1010XL.
The Gators would love to make a weekend meal out of the Gamecocks. Florida, South Carolina. Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon on 1010 AM.
Lee and Kate's Glass, Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal conditions.
Want to support a locally and veteran-owned company? If you need a new AC, we should be your first and only call. Ideal Conditions keeps you cool. Just gas your AC. Call 904-500-COOL or visit idealconditionsjacks.com.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
Idealconditionsjacks.com.
Looking for a fun-filled evening that the whole family can enjoy? Discover the thrill of indoor football, a fast-paced, action-filled sport where excitement meets family fun. Check out your hometown Sharks on Saturday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Owl's Pizza gift card, all for only $100. For tickets, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. Go Sharks!
Prosser here. The Sharks look to get back in winning form this Saturday while you enjoy a fun-filled evening. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Owl's Pizza gift card, all for only $100. Discover the thrill of indoor football, fast-paced, action-filled, family fun, and check out our hometown Sharks. Saturday, May 3rd, kickoff, 7 o'clock at the ViStar Memorial Arena. For tickets and the family 4-pack information, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. That's 621-0700.
Go Sharks!
It's May, and that means it's Founders Month here at Sonny's Barbecue. Every Wednesday, we're celebrating with $7 pork big deals served with a sidekick and a drink, or one of our pork and rib combos for just $11. It's our way of saying thanks for letting us be your local pitmasters. So stop in for great deals on the Q you crave. Founders Month specials at Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Open early and open late. Dailies is always there, making things easy for you to cruise in and cruise out. So hit Dailies Cold Case the next time you're craving a cold one. Bud Light by the case. Plus plenty of singles to choose from. Corona to the King of Beers to Stella or a Natty. They're all cold at Dailies.
Join us at Miller Electric May 29th from 4 to 7 p.m. We're on the lookout for talented people, from entry level to experienced electricians and foremen, security system installation and service technicians, fire alarm system service technicians, and both senior and junior VDV technicians. This is your chance to get hired on the spot. Meet the managers, indulge in delicious food, and snag some awesome giveaways. Don't miss out on this electrifying chance to power up your career. Miller Electric, May 29th, 4 to 7 p.m., 6805 South Point Parkway.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On May 2nd, 1968, in the NBA Finals, the Boston Celtics defeat the Los Angeles Lakers 4-2, winning their 10th NBA championship.
The aroma, flavor, the bliss. Nothing matches a great cigar, and now you can indulge yourself with My Father's Cigars. Come to Tobacco Cove on Saturday, May 3rd from 1 to 4 p.m. for an incredible cigar event featuring food, drinks, and specials on cigars. This is your chance to embrace the joy of My Father's Cigars at Tobacco Cove on Bay Meadows Road. More than a cigar store, it's an experience.
All right, fellas, I got to brag a little. I'm down 40 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss and keeping it off.
That's cute, Matt. I'm down 110 pounds. That's like losing a Backstreet Boy.
Okay, so I'm the rookie here. I just started, but I'm already down 13 pounds, and let me tell you, it feels good to see the results already.
That's the thing, man. Awaken 180 works. No shots, no meds, no gimmicks, just real food, real support, and real results.
The support team is a game changer because we all know it's so easy to get distracted. But with Awaken 180, you get your own coach and a plan that works with your lifestyle.
And free support for life.
Plus, no gym workouts required, which is great because let's be honest, I wasn't running wind sprints either.
25, 40, even 110 pounds. If we all can do it, so can you. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
That's 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers, floral, or plant arrangement. This is Max Fink with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
Keeping kids active is a full-time job for parents. Look no further, though, than I-9 Sports, covering Duval, St. John's, and Clay to get your youngster in the game. Spring and summer registration open right now for flag football, soccer, t-ball, and basketball. Plus, all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. I-9 Sports with fields and gyms all over 3 counties. And the best thing is I-9 Sports offers sports year-round so kids can always find a sport to play. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville.
What's going on, y'all? I'm out here with them horses. I'm going to be at the NFL social correspondent next week at the Kentucky Derby. We got a mini thoroughbred right here. Got my rider Steve right here. Got my man Ronnie right here. Hey, them my boys now. They ride for real. So how we gonna do it here? Come on. Come on. So be real now. Put him in the race too now if they want to do it.
There he is.
It's been too long since we've had Xavier Leggett on a clip on our show. I really was trying to get him on our show to chat Kentucky Derby. Reached out to several people trying to get the number. No one would give it up, and I'm really sad because I really wanted to talk, even though I might have to have somebody to help me understand what he's saying.
The subtitles?
Yeah, I need some subtitles.
I don't think it's that hard to understand him, but
Interpreter,
I have
that's
family
the word
from,
I was trying to think
yeah,
of.
I have family from South Carolina, so I'm used to that. It's so crazy that you're not Cajun, like you're not from New Orleans or that part of the country, Louisiana, but you have like a Cajun accent
like
in South Carolina.
That's what it sounds like to me, and that's just that deep South Carolina, but I can't understand Cajun accents, and so if there's any kind of it, it's blank. It's like my mind doesn't process it very well.
Well, if we ever go to New Orleans, I'll make sure to help you. So yeah, Panthers wide receiver Xavier Leggett is at the Kentucky Derby, as is, by the way, a really good friend of my family, Mrs. Hayden, is there as well. She always tells me to call her by her first name, and I'm like, when you grow up with saying like Mrs. in front of it, you just can't ever change. But yeah, I'm excited for her first Kentucky Derby. All right, so I went through the odds, and I have picked who I think y'all will select for your horses for the Derby tomorrow.
Let me guess. You think I'm taking journalism?
I do think you're taking
How
journalism.
did I know? I'm not taking journalism, though. Journalism is dead. Come on now.
No, but because the odds are really good for journalism. And yes, wasn't that your major?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's why I assumed you would go with journalism, but I'm glad you're going different. And Taylor, I believe you are going with Flying Mohawk.
No, but that's really
Mohawks.
good. Dang, that's really good. Honestly, it was one of the ones because I was going through. I don't care about odds. Let me just start with that.
Oh, I do.
This is
We're
like-
getting in the weeds
This
here.
is like my March Madness bracket where my right side, I just did not care whatsoever. And I had 7 upsets in round 1. So I didn't even look at the odds. I
Okay.
just strictly picked by the name that
All
I
right,
liked.
I do like the names.
But I do like, if it was Flying Mullet, it would have definitely been picked.
But I just feel like anything with hair
Yeah,
for
that's
you.
good.
All right, so Mia, who is your actual horse?
Well, we got to go step by step here. So where do we begin with my research? Let's start with that. Let's first also rattle through properly, unlike our friends Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser, the names of the 21 horses, or the 20 horses, excuse me, since Rodriguez did scratch this morning
Yeah, I
at
feel bad
12
for
to
him.
1. Let's go
What
through, I guess, sick, hurt, something.
His little cough.
Yeah. Well, apparently there's fever. We're going to get to this here in a second.
Horse fever?
There's Kentucky fever, Derby fever. There's
Oh, no.
We're going to get to that here in a second. I got a lot of research
Okay,
we
let's
got to
go.
rattle through. So first and foremost, here are the 20 names. We got any like horse racing music, RJ? Throw something underneath here. Here are the 20 names of the horses that will be in the field for the running for the roses, the race for the roses tomorrow in Louisville, Kentucky at Churchill Downs. Citizen Bull in the one post. Neoquist. Let's go with that one at 30 to 1. Final.
By the way, Rodriguez had a small but slightly sensitive foot bruise that
There
will
you
need a
go.
few more days.
Oh,
So he's not sick. He
Poor
just
baby.
has a little bruise.
Final gambit in the 3-hole. American Promise, Admire Daytona, Luxor Cafe, the aforementioned Journalism, currently the betting favorite at 3 to 1. Burnham Square, Grande, Flying Mohawk, East Avenue, Publisher, Tistastic, what a great name. Render Judgment,
Yeah, I read that one wrong the first time.
Coal Battle, Sandman.
Wait, what did you read it
Sovereignty.
as?
What do you think? Come on, overhead. Sovereignty, Chunk of Gold, Owen Almighty, and Biza, who was able to enter the field at 12 to 1 odds after Rodriguez scratched this morning, will be coming out of the 21 post.
I feel like that's another one Taylor could have gone with, the Beza, because the first 3 letters are BAE, like that's your Bay.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be another one for
So
her.
Beza
Yeah,
is the name
are
I'm
you going to
considering.
Sandman?
I thought about it, but
Okay.
no.
All right.
I do have some intel on Sandman, but I thought about it. My thing, so when it comes to my Kentucky Derby betting, and of course, we're excited to hear what names, what horses you guys like. Hit us up at the YouTube chat line, as well as the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 904-641-1010. My Kentucky Derby horse betting experience stems and roots back to 2017. I was in Chicago actually to go to my first ever Cubs game that weekend, and I had a chance to go to the big horse racing sports book. I didn't know that there was one in downtown Chicago, but there was. I don't even remember the name of it. Taylor probably knows it better than me. They had a massive...
It's called the Horse Lady.
They had a massive Kentucky Derby, big screen TV. We're going in, we're placing bets. I'm so excited. And so at the time, Always Dreaming had the second best odds.
Was it the Horseshoe? Is that where you were at?
Maybe.
Was it called that? Okay.
Possibly. So Always Dreaming had
Looks
the second
like
best
Caesar's
odds.
Sportsbook at Horseshoe Hammond.
Oh, Horseshoe.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. Second best odds at 5 to 1. Always Dreaming, the 2017 Kentucky Derby. I liked the name. I liked second best odds.
that, yeah.
The reason I'm not taking Journalism, Lauren, is because I fear taking the favorite, because the favorite hasn't won in the last, I think it's 6 or 7 tries at the Kentucky Derby. And so that's the reason that I stay away from the favorite. Maybe that line shifts a little bit. Maybe I change my mind at post time tomorrow. But because Always Dreaming was a 5 to 1 odds, came out of the 5 position, the post position on the 5, I have always leaned more towards horses that start in that 1 through 8 spot, which Journalism is starting with the post position of 8. However, 2 of the last 3 winners of the Kentucky Derby came out of the 20 hole. And so that's why I look at that and I say, who can I get maybe as a long shot? Because we've had a couple of long shot winners here in the last decade at Churchill Downs.
That is a great name, Owen Almighty.
So Owen Almighty, this is a crazy story that I didn't even realize until earlier today. So Owen Almighty fades badly at the Bluegrass Stakes. Also of note, the last 3 winners of the Kentucky Derby were foaled, however you say it. Sorry, equestrian friends. In the state of Kentucky. They are from the state of Kentucky. They're not from elsewhere. And so that's why I'm also looking at the horses that are from the state of Kentucky. I know I'm way too in the weeds on
Home
this
field
one.
advantage.
Correct. Owen Almighty is an interesting one because, and here's where the Derby fever comes in. Every spring, a contagious illness spreads among overambitious thoroughbred racehorses called Derby fever. Symptoms include owners who are desperate to participate in the Derby, pointing their horse to run in the first leg even overruling the trainer when their horse is woefully ill-suited to run and would be better off waiting. The owners of Owen Almighty have come down with a severe case of Derby fever, ladies. While the colt excelled at sprint distances, the trainer never considered training this horse in the Derby because of the breeding, because of who the parents were and the breed, and the unlikeliness that the horse would be able to make it through the 1 1/4 distance.
I never expected this on the show today.
Owen Almighty actually scratched 8 days ago, and now all of a sudden is back in the field. And so they're going to take a shot on this very long shot. And so Owen Almighty enters to race a distance for which he is wholly unsuited. Everyone thinks he's the longest odds. And at the same time, Owen Almighty, much like Beza, which is why I'm leaning towards one or the other, and I'll probably end up with Beza, the last horse into the field, much like not too long ago. I want to make sure which one I pulled it up. Rich Strike. Rich Strike was the last horse into the field at an 80-1 odds, got in on the Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And both Owen Almighty and Beza are coming out of the 19th and the 20th post. Beza is the youngest colt in the field, and like Owen Almighty, runs really well in wet conditions. It is expected to rain all day tomorrow at Churchill Downs. There's currently thunderstorms up in the Kentucky area, and so that's why, for me, I think there's a couple things you got to keep in mind. Number one is the weather. Number two, like I said, the post position. And then number three, where the horse is coming from, not just in terms of their lineage and if their owner has Derby fever and they just want to get a horse into the field, but also where were they raised and bred. And so I'm going to go with Beza because I think Rich Strike and the idea of a long shot winner, we've had a couple long shot winners. Again, we haven't had a favorite win in quite some time. And so give me Beza out of the 20 post position.
I'm going with Luxor Cafe, lucky number 7. The name American Pharaoh, that rings a bell, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Triple Crown winner in 2015. American Pharaoh is Luxor Cafe's dad.
Oh.
Yeah. So Luxor Cafe, like I said, in the 7 post, and also has 15-1 odds. So I never go with the favorites either. I think that's silly because they don't usually win. But it's more fun to pick something. I feel like that's a little bit more, longer of odds. So yeah, 15-1 odds. Luxor Cafe, 3-year-old son of American Pharaoh. I don't know where Luxor Cafe was.
I will find
born.
That for you. I will find it for you.
Does he like rain?
I got all their profiles right
I'm
here.
assuming Kentucky because American Pharaoh, I would assume, still resides in Kentucky.
Horse from Japan. He's from Japan.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And this write-up
international.
Says, the horses from Japan have excelled on the international stage. No horse based in Japan has ever won the Kentucky Derby.
So it would be
make it happen.
Forever Young nearly pulled off the feet last year, but then finished third by 2 noses.
All right. Taylor, who do you have?
So I'm going with far less research in the reign and the lineage. I'm going American Promise. And I'm doing that just because it sounds like a really good pop punk band name to me, and that's what stood out.
Or a country band name.
Yeah, or a country band. Yeah, I just the name popped out to me. I went strictly by names. That's like a 30-1 odd when I'm looking at it. So,
yep.
But yeah, American Promise for me.
30,
I like it.
30-1 for American Promise, 15-1. I do like those odds for Luxor Cafe out of the 7 post position, and then Beza will come out of either the 20th, or if they reshuffle the deck, will come out of the 4th post position where Rodriguez had scratched, 12-1 odds.
All right, good stuff. Who do you think Xavier Legette is taking?
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. Maybe.
He definitely knows even more than I do after just going down rabbit holes today.
He probably could have spent a whole time on us being like, oh, well, this one, you talk about the rain. He is, and that's interesting because those are things I truly wouldn't have even thought about. Like, oh, this horse is good with wet weather.
Well, Xavier Legette is number 17, and Sandman, which obviously if you like Metallica, then you like Sandman. That would be a good one. So that's who I would have predicted that Xavier Legette's going to take. I'm always going to call him Xavier.
Just for, again, to get all the facts out there, no favorite has won the Kentucky Derby since eventual Triple Crown winner Justify in 2018.
So who is the actual favorite? Journalism's
the favorite, yeah.
And then Sandman is
the next favorite.
Sovereignty is 5-1. Yeah. Sandman is 6-1.
And again, I got Always Dreaming at 5-1, so maybe I should be looking into Sovereignty a little bit more.
There we go.
And also on the outside at the 18 post.
What will you do during the Derby tomorrow? Will you have a mint julep?
I have a birthday party, but I was debating. I was like, ooh, maybe I need to bring mint juleps to the birthday party.
Yeah, I have a birthday party as well for a 2-year-old. But so there might not be
different.
mint juleps, but I have a dress. A girlfriend of mine several years ago gave me a ton of dresses that she didn't wear anymore, and one of them has horses all over it.
Oh.
So once a year,
That's
I wear it for
perfect.
the Derby. And so
Yeah,
I told her, I was
there
like,
you
I have a
go.
perfect dress. And she was like, it's not a Derby theme. I was like, that's
It's okay.
I'm
Kentucky
just gonna
Derby's
show-
still happening.
Correct. I'm just going to show up in my dress. All right, we will get it to more football on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's tough stuff. And when you lose, it all comes down on you.
1010XL.
When you put it all together and you win, it's the greatest feeling in the world. It's like winning the Super Bowl.
Always in pursuit of greatness. You're locked into a Lee and Kate's Glass Friday on Helmets and Heels.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
The joys of home ownership. Until the plumbing backs up, the AC goes out, or your septic system decides to act up. The good news? You don't have to call 3 different companies when things go wrong. Just call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. Mia here. Duck Duck Rooter is your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning all under one roof. Whether it's a leak, a clog, or your system just won't cool, they have you covered. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5-star reviews on Google. From the moment you call to the moment the tech solves your issue, you will get first-class service every step of the way. Give them a call today at 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. One call does it all.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Hey, this is Coach Jason Gibson of your Jacksonville Sharks. I know the importance of a strong game plan, and that's exactly what I've got with Clay Solar Installation Partners. They did the install of the solar panels at my house, and I couldn't be happier. Lower energy bills, clean power, and a winning team that made the whole process easy. If you're looking to save money and go solar, trust the pros at Clay Solar. Call Karen at Clay Solar today and tell them that Coach Gibson sent you.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
New year, new club. This is Joe C., and I'm proud to be a member of Southampton. And with the popularity of golf, getting a tee time is tough. But with membership comes member privileges. Enjoy clubhouse dining, expanded practice area, focusing on all parts of your game. And right now, you can join with an annual commitment and get a $1,000 discount, plus $500 of Pro Shop credit. All the details are online at golfsouthampton.com or call 287-PLAY and make a tee time today at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ORDER to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ORDER to 42424. That's ORDER to 42424. 42424.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
What is the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth? The answer next.
There's always a good reason to compare homeowners' insurance rates. You may be paying too much. Protect your home with a Southern Oak insurance policy today.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The coldest temperature ever recorded was in Antarctica in July of 1983. An unbelievably cold minus 128.6 degrees.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey, Hicken here. So much of what makes us a family takes place in our homes. That's where Zero Res comes in. I love Zero Res, and this month get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet and air duct cleaner with May Mayhem. A 3-room special starting at $149 plus the 4th room is free. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res 28757 or go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and say you want the Hicken special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Kuhn Flowers. This afternoon, the Jacksonville Dolphins will be hosting the ASUN Men's Lacrosse Championships at Rock Stadium. The early game facing off at 1 is between the top-seeded Utah Utes and the 4th-ranked Bellarmine Knights. Then at 4, the Dolphins, playing as the 2 seed, will take on the 3-seeded Air Force Falcons. The winner of both games will play in the ASUN Championship game on Sunday at noon for a trip to the NCAA tournament. Then this weekend, the spotlight's on some local high school lacrosse programs fighting for a spot in the state semifinals. In the 1A quarterfinal tomorrow at 7, Bowles will take on Episcopal, airing right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Meanwhile, Nice and Ponte Vedra will also face off at 7, guaranteeing some Duval representation in both the 1A and 2A Final Fours. It's 84 degrees at 12:55. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. RJ making it all happen. By the way, I did not know that, or I thought that Florida Georgia Line was fully and finally not together anymore.
No, I don't think they ever ruled out a comeback.
I read a year ago that, I can't remember which one it is now. Maybe Brian Kelly said no, we have no interest in a reunion. But then today,
his name is Brian Kelly.
Yes, but he does have.
That's what matters on this program.
He does have an extra E.
Okay.
In the Kelly part.
Oh, okay.
But I read he said no, we're never getting back together. But then today, a new song came out by Florida Georgia Line.
And it's with all of them? With both of them?
Yeah. So I'm very confused.
Don't
about
call
this.
it a comeback.
How is it? Did you listen?
Yes, of course I listened, and I like it. I really like Tyler Hubbard's voice. That's the other one. I don't really like Brian Kelly as a solo artist, but I really like Tyler Hubbard as a solo artist. Okay, yeah. Or the coach, obviously. But yeah, I just saw that they were together. But yeah, it's something about what are you drinking about, I think is the title of it. It's good. I put a couple of different new songs in for RJ. One of them is a new Bailey Zimmerman song with Luke Combs.
Oh, yeah, I listened to that this morning.
That one, yeah, super good backup plan. All right, let's get it to, we just played some negativity earlier from Colin Coward on the Jacksonville Jaguars organization. Let's get it to the opposite, the more positive side. Here's Rich Eisen on some of the moves the Jags have made.
We have a new reason to root for the Jacksonville Jaguars if you're looking for one. Okay? You can come up with many different reasons.
Mm-hmm. But
here's a new one. This is a new one. It's a new one. Daniel Jeremiah just said he has spoken to 15 to 20 people in the NFL world. He cannot find a single individual associated with the NFL scouting community, evaluation community, coaching community. He talks to everybody. Can't find a single one who feels Jacksonville's acquisition of Travis Hunter was worth it to the point where Travis Hunter will play every snap on both sides of the football, or predominantly on both sides of the football. He will have to major in one, minor in another, have a splash of plays on one, fully commit to the other. Can't think of how whatever he did at the collegiate level can be repeated at the professional level. And for anybody who thinks that is horse hockey. To use an old school MASH phrase, you got to root for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got to root for this kid. You got to root for this kid to say the way you view the National Football League is over. I am a game changer. I am a unicorn. And I am coming to Duval. And showing up on both sides of the football. And I'm playing every snap until I tap the top of my helmet and say I am not.
It's impossible.
Writing your own script. Writing your own narrative. And I hope Jacksonville lets him do it.
There you go. Rich Eisen saying that there's a new reason to root for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, we're going to talk so much about Travis Hunter, and I honestly don't even care that much about him playing defense. Like, the whole point of bringing Liam Cohen in and Grant Udinski and all the new offensive changes is to not just fix Trevor, but it's to score points in the NFL. Like, that is the whole point. So I don't even focus that much on the extra bonus that you get for corner.
Yeah, I think in the arguments of the sense of that, of what Daniel Jeremiah was kind of saying, is they were saying, would you move up for just a wide receiver and give up the amount of draft capital you did if Travis Hunter was just a wide receiver or just a corner? And the answer is probably no. People probably would not have moved up to number 2 if he was just playing one position. But the thing is, he's not, and he won't. I don't know if the amount really matters at this point. If you're getting a player who is playing all of the wide receiver snaps, he's wide receiver number 2, and he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and then you do still get some sub packages out of him on defense, that right away changes everything, because no other wide receiver is going to do that, and no other corner is going to be catching however many, getting 12 to 20 targets in a game either. So I do think that it automatically changes. So the what ifs of how much doesn't really matter to me.
Spot on. I have nothing else to add because Taylor literally just summarized exactly how I feel. I'll add this off the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures from 716. On important game-changing plays and situations on defense, Travis Hunter will be out there. Do you guys agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, that's what I led the show and said, thanks to Tyler Dunn for specifically laying it out. The Jaguars' plan, this is what Tyler Dunn said. The Jaguars will devise a plan for Hunter at corner. Perhaps they bring him in at nickel in key situations. Third down, red zone, 2-minute drills. There will be ways to strategically unleash his sticky coverage and ball hawking skills. So I feel like, yes, 100%, he's going to be on the field when the Broncos are driving down the field and it gets to
Third
be
and 12 on the 25-yard line.
Sure, absolutely. Or inside the red zone, less than 20 yards. He's going to be on the field if he feels like he can go, which we've already talked about. He already took so many snaps in college, whether it was the altitude, whether it was the heat, like that. The conditioning is not going to be a problem. And by the way, I would still have moved up. Even if he never played a snap at corner, I would still have moved up for Travis Hunter, the wide receiver, because of also the Jaguars' DNA that he possesses.
Yep, and this idea
on draft day, you said you wouldn't for the amount.
I wouldn't have done next year's first and second as well as this year's second, and they didn't. They did this year's second and then next year's first. I wouldn't have done both the first and second round. For next year.
I just come back to, if he was one of 2 players in your highest tier, and the other player, you ultimately had questions, not because of the player or the person, but because of the value of the position, you have no other choice, because otherwise you're admitting you're settling.
Yeah.
And, well, yes, even if they hadn't traded up and Mike Silver of The Athletic was in the war room, I don't know how exactly, what exactly the messaging would have been then. But ultimately, for me, this is a message from the new regime of, we are not going to settle. We want blue chip guys, and we are going to get those blue chip guys or someone who fits the Jaguars' DNA above all else.
And I go back to those certain game situations, and let's say it's the fourth quarter, there's a minute and a half, the opponent has the ball, the Jags are up 3, and you just need that playmaker out there on defense to make sure that nothing happens, and that you have an extra guy that can be out there to help that can play it at a really high level. Are you asking him? And this is why I say I don't really care about how much. I care about the moments they choose to use him, and I think they can be strategic enough on defense to use him at the beneficial moments, and Ty Dunn is kind of saying that, but then also have him be one of the key pieces of your offense to me, which is a win-win. When it comes back to the if they trade up for just the position, I don't know if the Browns would even want him at 2 if he was just the wide receiver side of things. And so that's what I think it would have been a very different draft if we were talking about a player that only played wide receiver or corner, but we aren't. So you can never say that it's a big what if that we'll never know if Travis Hunter was just the wide receiver or just the corner, if he would have been looked at the number as the best player in the draft.
When you look back at the 2021 draft, and certainly a lot of blue chip players in that class comparatively to this one. Yeah. This is, of course, the Trevor Lawrence draft.
Yeah.
And the New York Jets history obviously tells us probably you're not going to select Zach Wilson. You may not select a quarterback at all, now seeing how all those quarterbacks have played out.
Yeah, Trevor's the only one still on his original team from that draft class.
And to get to a second contract, would you, if you're the Jets...
As a quarterback.
Or if you're the Niners, who would they trade with? I forget who was originally picking 3. Whoever was picking 3. Would you have picked Jamar Chase?
Of course.
And there it is.
Right. That's what.
And there it is.
Yeah. Of course, the answer.
Not if you think you're getting your quarterback of the future.
Right. That's
and
what I'm
they
saying.
did.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Right. Correct.
But is Jamar Chase, is Justin Jefferson, are those guys worth the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft?
Yes.
That's I think, right.
Penei Sewell is worth the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. I agree. They were always going to go quarterback. It's just the nature of the league.
And that's what it's just, you can say, we can do that with every single draft of, well, looking back now, of course you would take this person. You would take Patrick Mahomes in the
first overall instead of number 10.
We could do that with every single draft.
Oh, of course, yeah. Hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
There's a reason that phrase exists. But I think for me, the exciting part is that we are going to see them be able to use Travis Hunter. So let's say if he's playing at nickel, they can bring him along slowly in that regard, because you already have Jordan Lewis there. You already have Jarian Jones, who's shown he can play nickel. So it's not like this team drafted Travis Hunter and said, okay, you're wide receiver 2 and you're starting nickel corner. And not that all nickels start when the game starts, but as far as like taking every snap at nickel, that's not at all the plan. So I do think we will get to a point in time where Travis Hunter is better on the field than Jordan Lewis. I think Jordan Lewis has way more experience than Travis Hunter does in the NFL. But I think athletically, we've seen how gifted Travis Hunter is. Like at some point, you're going to say, in a nickel situation, and I have 5 DBs on the field, I'm going to bring in Travis Hunter and Jordan's going to take a seat. And I'm only using Jordan in that scenario because, again, Ty Dunn said nickel corner.
And by the way, he also has a nice glide path on offense, too, because like we led with.
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be wide receiver 1. He doesn't have to be the focal point of your offense. He certainly is a major factor in it. 422, really great point on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. One of the things that concerns me about Travis is similar to the Jamal Agnew experience, where every time he's on the field, you know the ball's going to go to him. I think having Hunter play all of the offensive snaps will keep people guessing. I don't think that's quite as important on defense if he's on there some plays and not on others.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also being able to run the ball helps that too. When you have an offense that you know can only throw the ball because they're getting negative yards when they're running, which has been the Jags the last couple years, then that does make it a little more predictable. But even in predictableness, Brian Thomas Jr., predictability. Brian Thomas Jr. was still able to do what he did last year. And now you have 2 of those guys on offense. So I do think that that is some of the things that you do have to look at too, because it just opens up. It doesn't. And we talked about with Coach Campo about this a lot when it comes to what the offense could potentially look like. He was talking about that wing tee and how there's just so many things. Defenses don't know how to predict that. So I do see an offense that's going to confuse people, even if they're like, okay, well, it's going to be BTJ or Travis Hunter. But is it? Because you do feel like you have a Brenton Strange that you can use. You do feel like you can run the ball. You do feel like Trevor can take off if he needs to. And those type of things is what I think is what's going to change this offense from what we've seen the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think a fascinating question is who has the 3rd most catches on the Jaguars this season?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right? Because we could honestly say it could be Brenton Strange.
I was going to say Strange.
It could be Parker Washington. It could be De'Ami Brown.
Could be Travis Etienne.
I was going to say it could be Bhayshul Tuten, who we're going to learn more about in the next segment. It could be LaKent Allen, since certainly that's what he did at Syracuse as far as catching out of the backfield as well. Yeah, Travis Etienne. Like, there's a lot of options as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good thing. And you talk about it. There's been criticisms in previous years, not here, but in other teams where it's like, well, they have too many mouths to feed. And I've always hated that because I'm like, who cares? Like, who cares that you have 4 or 5 good weapons to get the ball to?
Yeah, the 49ers shown.
Yeah, they don't care.
It doesn't matter. If you win, if you win and you have guys who don't care as long as you win, it doesn't matter.
And I feel like that is definitely Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is just going to want to win. Yeah, is he going to want to make plays? For sure. And Brian Thomas Jr. is one of those guys that loves it when the ball's in his hands too. But I do think you have people here that are more about the winning product than look at me, which like a Stephon Diggs, for example.
Interesting one this is from one of our Heeligans in South Carolina. Our top 5 DBs should be on the field on passing downs regardless of position. Those 5 would be Tyson Campbell, Jarian Jones, Jordan Lewis, Travis Hunter, and hopefully Caleb Ransaw. I say it's interesting because the idea of versatility. Jarian sat here at 1010XL and he told us, if you need to play me at safety on certain downs, you probably can. Jordan Lewis, with his ability to play in the slot, certainly, maybe that creates a versatile opportunity for you. Ransaw played cornerback at Tulane and Troy, is now going to be transitioning to playing that safety position. And once again, this overarching theme that James Gladstone readily admitted at the podium on Saturday night, this idea of versatility.
Yeah, Savage has played both too.
And Savage has also played both. And obviously the hope is that he would get to play a little bit more in the slot too. And so that's where you look at all those players and you say, okay, I may call you a safety or I may be calling you a cornerback, but in reality, you could play multiple spots on the field.
We have a bunch of defensive backs.
Right.
Yeah. A good amount of defensive backs, which is good, and a good amount of pass catchers. And you don't limit that just to receiver, tight end.
And I bring it up to say, it's same idea of you have too many mouths to feed.
Yeah.
You got too many DBs. What are you going to do with all of them? Like, there's too many of them. Okay, well, if they can play 3 to 4 spots each, we can mix and match, just like you would on offense with all of the wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends.
You know who has a lot of options on offense and defense? The team that won the Super Bowl in the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sure that at times, and we've seen it, A.J. Brown is upset that he's not getting the ball enough because Saquon's running it, or Devonta's getting his catches, or Dallas Goedert. Like, those guys figured it out.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts found a way to spread the ball around. That works perfectly.
Oh, and Jalen, by the way, will run for a lot of yards also.
Yeah, it's funny, Taylor, as soon as you said, and Trevor can take off, because I have the PTSD of the injuries the last 2 seasons, I'm like, no. Stay in the pocket.
I want to see
protected.
him take off. I feel he's one of those guys that I could see, and I'm not comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers used to do this where his deep ball was so good that it would terrify teams. And then he wasn't super fast, but he would, next thing you know, he's getting like 12, 13 yards because teams had to play so deep against him.
He did it against the Jags last season.
Yeah, he did. And to me, that's something I could see. Not saying Trevor just run every single play, but if you
he's
get
a better
to the point,
athlete than A.A.
I know.
Yeah, no, the first 2 years I remember like screaming, like, Trevor's got to take off.
Yeah.
But after seeing that Azeez Al-Shaair hit last year, like, that's so seared in my memory and my brain. And so that forearm late, like, it's just like, no, Trevor, stay healthy. You just play 17 games. Well, really my hope is he plays 16 and then the 17th Nick Mullins starts and the Jaguars don't have to worry about that final game. All right, we will chat with Andy Bitter on the other side, who covers Virginia Tech, and learn more about Jaguars rookie running back Bhayshul Tuten. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Wonder what Rick Ballou would be doing if he wasn't on 1010XL?
Doing my job to the best of my ability on a daily basis.
Rick Ballou.
I work here.
Evenings.
I carry a badge.
On 1010XL. Lee and Kate's Glass, Friday. Guaranteed greatness since 1926.
It's May, and that means it's Founders Month here at Sonny's Barbecue. Every Wednesday, we're celebrating with $7 pork big deal served with a sidekick and a drink, or one of our pork and rib combos for just $11. It's our way of saying thanks for letting us be your local pitmasters. So stop in for great deals on the Q you crave. Founders Month specials at Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Attention poker enthusiasts, get ready for unbeatable action at Best Bet with locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. Dive into the excitement with $500 high hands every Friday and $1,000 high hands every Saturday. And save the dates for May's table game giveaways. $300 every 20 minutes on select Fridays and Saturdays. Want in on the action? Visit bestbetjacks.com for all the details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Since 1901, generations of skilled union workers have built the backbone of our community. Hospitals, schools, the buildings where you work. Every year, a new apprentice class of Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians is stepping up, trained, driven, and ready to do great things. They're not just building our city, they're building their future. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to become a member or contractor today.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Need the right tools for the job without the full-time price tag? Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach is what you need when you need it. From heavy machinery for commercial projects to weekend projects at the house, we've got you covered. We've been serving Jacks for 50 years. Visit Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach, just behind Aqua East Surf Shop, or call today. We also have event rentals too. Tucker Equipment Rentals. Tools you need without the price tag of purchasing.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser share the huddle with Freddie T. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Fred Taylor, he's a candidate to go the distance.
On 1010XL.
Hey Jacksonville, Lauren Brooks here for Big Chief Tire. If you need new tires, Big Chief has affordable options to fit every budget and every vehicle. Their team of experts will help you find the right tires and make sure they're installed quickly so you can get back on the road. Don't wait. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment and explore their great tire deals. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Looking for a fun-filled evening that the whole family can enjoy? Discover the thrill of indoor football, a fast-paced, action-filled sport where excitement meets family fun. Check out your hometown Sharks on Saturday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Owl's Pizza gift card, all for only $100. For tickets, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. Go Sharks!
Prosser here. The Sharks look to get back in winning form this Saturday while you enjoy a fun-filled evening. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Owl's Pizza gift card, all for only $100. Discover the thrill of indoor football, fast-paced, action-filled, family fun, and check out our hometown Sharks. Saturday, May 3rd, kickoff, 7 o'clock at the ViStar Memorial Arena. For tickets and the family 4-pack information, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. That's 621-0700.
Go Sharks!
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Tube's going to be able to return this Ganyard kick. Got a blocker in front of him. Gets the corner, and he's gone.
continue on getting to know some of the newest Jacksonville Jaguars from the 2025 NFL Draft. We're joined now by Andy Bitter. He's the lead beat writer for Tech Sideline, covering Hokie football. Andy, we really appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start with kind of the basics of this. The Jaguars drafted Bhayshul Tuten, running back, round 4, pick 104. So let's just start with the type of back he is. We hear that word speed surrounding him a lot, and you can see it on the tape, you can see it in his numbers, all of that stuff. But just how was he used at Virginia Tech, and where did you see him excel the most?
He was really a workhorse back the 2 years he was here. He's got that game-breaking ability. You talk about his speed. You see the time that he ran at the combines, fastest of the running backs when he was there. But it never looks like he's really running hard. Like he makes the speed look easy when he's running. It's not like he's just overly straining when he's out there. But, he's also a physical back. Virginia Tech did not have the best offensive line last year, the last 2 years that he's been here. And he breaks a lot of tackles, makes something out of nothing. I think if you look at some of these charts that they have from last year's college backs, where it's like, team missed broken tackles versus yards per carry or something like that. And, there's Ashton Jonty, who's out there sort of in his own quadrant out there. But then the Virginia Tech logo is also way out there. And it's mostly because of Bhayshul Tuten, because he was such an effective back in all sorts of manners.
There's at least one of our listeners, Andy, driving around Jacksonville right now who has questions about the Jaguars' offensive line, who is pumping their fist as they hear that despite a middling offensive line, Tuten was still able to find success up there in Blacksburg. I also dispel this storyline for us. The idea of, was Bhayshul injured and still performing at that high level last season, his final season in college?
Well, he was. I mean, he had sort of an ankle injury, something leg-wise that he had a brace. I think it was a knee early on. He had a brace on early in the season. He got that off around mid-year in the Boston College game, which is a night when he ran for 266 yards, broke the school single-game record, rushing record. So he proved his breakaway speed, his health at that point. A couple weeks later, near the end of the Georgia Tech game, he got rolled up on. Playing near the end of the game, like it looked really bad when it happened. You're like, man, is this going to be a season-ender type of thing? So that really limited him down the stretch. And yet he was still a 1,000-yard back for Virginia Tech, one of only 3 they've had in the last 14 years now. So he was productive. He put up the numbers. It's sort of a shame that he didn't get to finish his year completely healthy, because I think you look at what he's capable of, it would have been pretty impressive, the numbers that he put up for an entire season. But, by the time he got to the combine, he got to the offseason, he said he was feeling 100%. I think he showed that when he went to Indy and he ran the 4.32, whatever the time was he had in the 40-yard dash.
Yeah, it was a blazing 4.32, which is 100th faster than Brian Thomas Jr. ran, which was a 4.33. Andy, were you surprised that he lasted until the 4th round?
Maybe a little bit. I think speed always is something that the NFL is looking for. At the same time, this is such a deep running back class that was coming through in this draft class that I think you could wait for a while and still get a running back like that and feel good about the type of guy. And obviously it's a position that's not as prioritized as some of the NFL. That you feel like you can wait and kind of churn those guys through and they can still be productive. But, I think the projections were 3rd or 4th round, somewhere in there, and then it depends on sort of what your preference is for a running back. And it sounds like Jacksonville really liked him through the whole process, was hoping he could get there to day 3. And, from what I gather from him, he's thrilled to be down there.
Andy, when you talk about the concern, the one thing that people have labeled is the ball security side of it. He has 9 fumbles since 2023. So that is something that I think will be focused on now that he at this next level, and especially because that's been an area of concern in Jacksonville with some of the running backs. But what do you think kind of played into those? Because I know sometimes it's just trying to maybe do a little too much, forcing that contact, pushing things a little bit, and sometimes it's just being a little bit careless. But from what you noticed, some of those fumbles, what were they more correlated to?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a thread through all of them. I know it's a deficiency that he's focused on in this off season. Also, you look at a couple of them. I was going back looking when they happened. One was on that Georgia Tech carry where his knee got wrenched underneath him, and he kind of just kind of lost control of the ball because he was in so much pain with his knee going like that. Another one was the previous year in the Military Bowl, which was just an absolute torrential downpour. I think there were like 10 fumbles in that game. Nobody could hold on to the ball in that game. So maybe if you look at the context of some of those, 7 isn't quite as bad as 9 if you're looking at it like that. But I think it's still an issue, and he's just been putting ball security stuff into his daily regimen every day, just focusing on it. I think the attention to it is more how you solve that than anything.
You can find Andy on X at Andy Bitter. That's BITTERVT. Again, the senior writer and lead football writer for Tech Sideline. Let's go before Virginia Tech. Let's tell that story, Andy. When Bhayshul arrives in Blacksburg, fresh off of a 2-year stint at North Carolina A&T, a New Jersey product, what did you guys know about him up to that point, and what were the expectations?
Not a whole lot, honestly, and it sounded like he was all set to go to Boston College until a week before. They were still sort of uncertain right when classes were starting that winter semester whether he was going to flip and come to Virginia Tech. He's a talented guy, and there's a connection at Virginia Tech to that North Carolina A&T staff that Brent Fry had worked with somebody previously or known somebody at a previous stop that kind of gave him the heads up, like, hey, this guy's a dude. Like, you're going to want to go after this guy. And you wonder, how does he get to a place like North Carolina A&T in the first place? I mean, his recruiting cycle was during COVID. So he didn't really get to do the showcases or go out on recruiting trips too much. So it was sort of a slip through the cracks type situation. I think it was obvious once he got to North Carolina A&T that he was going to have some success and some talent that was going to shine through. And he came into Virginia Tech, and I think there were expectations that he would be good, but he certainly exceeded them. And he's been their best back here since, they had Khalil Herbert a couple years ago, and probably going back to David Wilson in 2011. His ACC Player of the Year season he had in 2011. And that's the type of impact he had rushing the ball here. They have not had the steady stream of 1,000-yard rushers, and he got there.
Does Bhayshul have a nickname, Andy?
Tugboat.
Oh,
he has
I saw that online, but I wanted to double-check if that was correct. So we can start calling him Tugboat.
He's got like a big fancy diamond chain that says Tugboat. He wore it to one of the post-game things of like, is that your nickname, Tugboat? I was like, well, yeah, obviously. I'm wearing a gold chain that says Tugboat around my neck. So I just sort of the dependency of a tugboat. He's a guy that you can rely on to get the ball a whole lot. So, yeah, that's his nickname.
Here's the funny part, Andy. There were so many when he was drafted in the media room last weekend that we all looked at each other and somebody said, well, we can't call him BT because we already have BTJ. But technically, Cooper Hodges, who's a backup offensive lineman who's coming off of a significant knee injury and is from the Jacksonville area, his nickname the last 2 years has been Tugboat. So we may have a battle for the tugboat chain on our hands in Duval County.
I think the diamond chain may win.
Yeah.
I think, Bhayshul is pretty, unique for a first name. And, Tuten, you could do Tuten Scootin' too. There's so many things you could do with his last name. So plenty of options on the table there.
Yeah, I think that when you listen to play-by-play guys, they definitely can do some fun things with that name. Andy, I do want to ask you, just in kind of zooming out at that Virginia Tech offense last year, because that is some of when you were talking about an Ashton Jeanty in this draft, a lot of it was because it was so predictable that he was going to be getting the ball. He was the main source of their offense. How much was the run game kind of the part of what Virginia Tech was able to do and had to do last year?
Yeah, it was a big part. And, certainly the previous season as well, when they started incorporating the quarterback into the run game plans, it really transformed this offense, became a lot more effective. And they had some games where they, would get up over 300 yards, but a lot of it's through misdirection and sort of confusing the defense rather than just sort of lining up and running over them. But, I think Bhayshul had that element to him that, yeah, he's a fast guy. He can break it off for a home run thing, but, churning out 3 yards when maybe -1 or 0 was the likely result of a carry was his true value to this team because it just kept them out of such bad situations where all of a sudden it's 2nd and 11, 3rd and long or something like that. It's 2nd and manageable. And I think that was a big part of this offense was just, give it to him. He can do good things, get it going. And they incorporated him in the pass game a little bit as well. So just sort of an all-around weapon that they could go to that was one of their most reliable guys.
As more than one person I saw nationally commented, if you can't get Ashton Jeanty, but you're looking for that sort of skill set, Bhayshul Tuten is not a bad consolation prize. And, of course, he has landed here with your Jacksonville Jaguars. Andy, as we get ready to wrap with you on the Checkmate Coatings hotline, these are a couple off of our YouTube chat line from some of our listeners. Robert is wondering, to your point about being able to catch some passes out of the backfield, how would you evaluate Tuten's ability in the receiving game as well as in pass protection?
Pass protection really took a step forward last year. I think that was maybe not his strong suit. His juniors or 2023 and then into 2024 really took a step forward to the point that, coaches remarked about how much he had improved there. Catching passes, they didn't do a ton with him, but he was effective at it. I mean, you swing it out to him. I think he had one of the Senior Bowl that he caught about 5 times. It was a little too far out in front of him, and he tipped it up to himself and finally corralled it there. I think that's something that in the right offense, if they use that a bit more, he's got those skills to be able to do it. It's just not something that Virginia Tech did a whole ton.
Andy, final thing, Shane Beamer at South Carolina, obviously doing pretty well this past season, but in general, how bad do Virginia Tech fans want that Beamer bloodline to come back to Blacksburg?
It was quite a bit there for a while, and it might depend on who wins. South Carolina's playing Virginia Tech in the opener this season coming up. So, talk about storylines galore going into that one. If Shane wins that one, I think a lot of people will be like, why isn't he our coach? He'd come back here and it'd be for the Hokies. If he loses it, it'll be like, well, clearly you weren't good enough to come back and coach, follow up your dad here. So, I feel like there's sort of a love-hate relationship with Shane here at Virginia Tech, where he was sort of the hot thing for a while, and then when things hit the skids a little bit at Virginia Tech, maybe it wasn't so much. But if he continues to have success like he's having at South Carolina, I'm sure there's a ton of people here. They're like, why isn't he the coach at Virginia Tech? It would just make so much sense.
All right, Andy. Well, we really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good rest of your weekend.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, Frank Beamer, as most people know, was the longtime head coach at Virginia Tech, started in 1987. Tell me, ladies, if in today's day and age he would have been the Virginia Tech head coach and won as many games as he did. When he started, they were 2-9. The next year, 3-8. Then 6-4. Then 6-5. Then 5-6. Then 2-8.
No way.
He would. There's not a chance that in 2025 he would still be the head coach. But of course, then he went on, and I can rattle these off quickly: 9 wins, 8 wins, 10, 10, 7, 9, 11, 11, 8, 10, 8, 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, all those.
That
double
keeps the
digit
job.
season. Right, but they wouldn't have
Even got
seen
to that point.
Right,
Yeah.
the success where they were one of the best teams in all of college football for that stretch with Beamer ball. All right, so we've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell,
1010XL. It's a Helmets and Heels. Lee and Kate's Glass, Friday.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
At Hurricane Grill and Wings, the wings are fresh, the drinks are cold, and the game is always on. With 30 bold flavors, ice-cold beer, and handcrafted cocktails, there's no better place to kick back and catch every play. Escape the ordinary. Your home for sports is Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Lauren Brooks here. It's the Cruise in the Summer event at Hodges Mazda at the Avenues. For a limited time, get up to $5,000 off a new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred and receive a free 5-day cruise for 2 with your purchase. With off-road capability and this special offer, your summer adventure starts now. Hurry, 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred models are in limited supply at Hodges Mazda. Offer valid on new 2024 Mazda CX-50 Preferred only. MSRP $32,564. Must trade in a vehicle and finance through dealer to qualify for discount. Cruise and vehicle availability limited. Travel taxes and fees additional. See dealer for details.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Ackerman Urology has 4 convenient locations providing advanced urological care to improve men's health and sexual vitality. Don't suffer through prostate, bladder, or kidney issues. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
The aroma, flavor, the bliss. Nothing matches a great cigar, and now you can indulge yourself with My Father's Cigars. Come to Tobacco Cove on Saturday, May 3rd from 1 to 4 p.m. for an incredible cigar event featuring food, drinks, and specials on cigars. This is your chance to embrace the joy of My Father's Cigars at Tobacco Cove on Bay Meadows Road. More than a cigar store, it's an experience.
We know Mom is special.
The best defense is a good offense.
Let 1010XL help you with gift ideas for Mom. From Beaches Dermatology, Sawgrass Marriott Spa, and Kuhn Flowers. Go to 1010XL.com.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece. Premium flooring. Take our advice. Home business, affordable price. Driveways, pool decks, garage doors, beautiful patios, and more to explore. Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
The Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa is the perfect place for indulging in a pampering spa treatment. This Mother's Day season, give the gift of wellness with a gift card and take advantage of the spa's current promotion. Buy a $75 gift card or more and guests get a credit towards a future service. With healing massages, revitalizing facial treatments, and more, a day at the Sawgrass Spa makes a perfect gift for everyone. Purchase in person at Sawgrass Spa during operating hours.
Want a simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation? A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting. Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Haven't gotten to much basketball in the first hour and 37 minutes of today's program. We do want to salute Greg Popovich, who, in case you missed it, is stepping down as head coach of the San Antonio Spurs to become the team president. And as Andrew Siciliano of the NFL Network tweeted out a little bit ago, with Greg Popovich stepping down, Mike Tomlin is now the longest tenured head coach in the 4 major North American sports at 19 seasons, which brings us to the question you asked Andy Bitter, which thanks again to Andy, which you could find him on X at Andy Bitter, BITTERVT on X. You asked him, Lauren, this idea of the Beamer connection. Rattle off. Do you still have it pulled up, the records that the elder Beamer had in Blacksburg? And
elder Beamer.
I don't think he makes it as many seasons as he does with this type of resume.
So his first year in '87, they went 2-9, then 3-8, then 6-4, then 6-5, then 5-6, then 2-8, and then that's when he turned it around in 1993. And then after that, there are only 4 seasons with Beamer at the helm until the very late years that they didn't have double-digit wins, but they had at least 7 wins, if not 8 or 9 wins in that stretch. But usually they had 10 or 11 wins, which, as we all know, like
the patience is not even close to that anymore.
No, but the ACC back then was also really, really good.
Yeah,
and that's the patience in college sports you're alluding to, Taylor.
Yes.
Because let's bring it back to Mike Tomlin, who, again, is entering his 19th season as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And ultimately, what's the critique of him, if only in the city in which he coaches? It's been good. It hasn't been great in quite some time, despite the fact that they have never had a losing season and they have consistently made the postseason. And that's what I think is so interesting when we look, not just here in Jacksonville, but even beyond, the leash that coaches have, the impact that a coach like Greg Popovich, being in one locale for 25 plus years, and what you can do, even if you have some seasons where you're selecting first overall and selecting Victor Wembanyama, versus those years where you're in the postseason, maybe you're the 7th or the 6th seed, but you're at the very least giving yourself a chance in the big dance.
The biggest... So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the biggest example is not just Billy Napier, but it's Ryan Day.
Yeah.
Fans were ready to run him out, and then Ohio State wins the national championship. Don't always listen to the fan base. The
like
fan
a month later.
Right. Now, granted, with Virginia Tech, too, I don't think that Virginia Tech was necessarily...
I kind of wish they fired him after the Michigan game, because then Notre Dame maybe would have won the national championship.
Yeah, that would have been spectacular. The difference, too, is like... It depends on what has happened with that program prior to that coach coming. Like, Virginia Tech had no expectations in football until Frank Beamer got there. It's not like they had been Alabama, right?
Yeah.
And so which, by the way, is Kalen DeBoer on the hot seat? Would you say because of
it's warm
what happened this past year?
It's warm.
Everything's
just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, he was coaching in the national title game, granted with a different program 2 years ago. And at the end of September last year, everyone thought they were going to win the national title.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely
9-4 is a good season for so many teams, but not for Bama.
No, yeah, and that's different. Your standards are different, and that's what, like, we've had the conversation here when I can't even remember who said it now. It might have been Doug Peterson who made the comment about just getting to the postseason or something. We're like, no, like that is not the goal.
Needs to be the Super Bowl.
Like it has to be. Oh, it was Shad Khan. Like it has to be beyond that. But I guess when you have to also raise your standards as time goes too. Maybe like if you are a losing organization for a long time, you can't all of a sudden say, well, it's Super Bowl or bust. You have to kind of gradually rise those. But when you go back and like talking about Mike Tomlin, because obviously they're coming out of Bill Cowher too, and so they were winning at that point.
Oh, yeah.
But he's only had in his time there, has only had one. So he's had 3 seasons where they haven't been first or second in the division. And we already know the stat of never below 500. But those are since Ben Roethlisberger's been gone. With Ben, when he had his quarterback. Yeah. And it's been, Big Ben was there for obviously the majority of his time until 2021. And then it's been Pickett, and Wilson, and a little bit of wildness in between there.
Wildness.
A little wildness. But I get the frustration of, I wonder if people now are looking like, okay, well, was Ben Roethlisberger what made everything happen? And it's that conversation we had with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Was it Bill? Was it Tom? Tom goes on somewhere else and wins the Super Bowl, and Bill, everything now it's a whole Netflix series happening with Bill Belichick.
Or not one, because Jordan Hudson said no. Bill did go to the postseason with Mac Jones as his quarterback.
Yeah.
And then he started dating Jordan Hudson and hired a defensive coordinator and a former wide receivers coach and failed head coach to be his offensive coordinator. Coincidence that all occurred around the same time.
They've been together that long?
2023.
Wow.
Which was the season that he made Matt Patricia and Joe
he was
Judge
just wild.
his co-play callers. I connected the dots yesterday, and for me, I was just like, oh my God. Like, it was already headed downhill heading into the 2023 season.
He started dating her, and he's like rambling off stuff, and she's like, that sounds like a great idea.
Is he on ayahuasca, Bill Belichick?
There's a lot of people speculating, and this isn't just because, and I showed Taylor the video in our office this morning, my Cranbig's daughter is obsessed with Disney villains now, and Ursula, but we talked about it yesterday. Is Jordan Hudson the real life Ursula from The Little Mermaid, where she has stolen Bill Belichick's soul, and it's somewhere in hiding right now. Because the man that I saw on CBS Sunday Morning does not look like the man who I saw hold 6 Lombardi trophies.
I saw that. Have you seen the meme where it's like the lobster dinner? It was like, but it was fruit. It was strawberries cut up in the shape of a lobster with whatever. And like she took the picture, and you can see Bill, and Bill's pissed in the back. Like he wanted real lobster, and she made it out of strawberries. And all the captions on it though, like we've all been with the one girl who's like just super hot, so we stay with her, but she gets on our absolute nerve.
But there's a legit country song about that, by the way.
Here's the thing, though. If you go down the rabbit hole that is Jordan Hudson's Instagram, which of course I did earlier this week.
Ooh,
she
no fun.
She believes she's like a mermaid, or at least she used to dress like a mermaid. Yeah, it wasn't.
Okay, that definitely sounds like Aaron Rodgers, because he had the girl that thought she was like the moon or something.
Yes. Okay. So similar vibes. It's not just the picture she took with Bill. It was also like if you go back to when she was in high school, like she took her senior pictures dressed like a mermaid.
That is wild.
That's why the Ursula thing is in play, in my opinion. Like it's very much in play.
I definitely did not have Ursula making the show today either. By the way, Nate Smith and Hardy collabed for the song. It's called "Nobody Likes Your Girlfriend."
There you go.
So listen to it, enjoy it. Everyone will, I feel like, laugh.
We need to send that over to Bill. As we put a bow on a little bit of basketball discussion. Did you guys catch the Knicks Pistons clinching series win for New York and the Tibbs and the Jalen Brunson crew last night? Was epic. RJ. This was a series that, in my opinion, justified the idea of 7-game series prior to conference finals. I know that's been a hotly debated topic on the national programs this last week. I thought every single game of this 6-game series was cinema.
Yes, however, we have had a couple series where, if you would have made this a 5-game series, allow teams out of their misery, say 1, 2, 3 Cancun out of the break, would have just been easier for all of us.
Sorry, RJ. I didn't bring them up. You did.
No, I'm not bringing them up. I'm bringing up like the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers series, or the Memphis Grizzlies and Oklahoma City Thunder series. But thank you on this edition of Open Wounds here on Helmets and Heels. I mean, I just feel like there's just a couple series where it's kind of like, this could have just been a 5-game series, and we could have left it alone. We really have to see a team get demolished another time. I mean, it's not even really being made a game. However,
why
I
5?
think
Just go with 3, by the way.
The most fun series, in my opinion, was this New York and Detroit series. And hey, who would have thought that getting a competent coach and not throwing $100 million at him because nobody else wanted to come to Detroit, and also getting some competent vet pieces around your number 1 overall pick in Cade Cunningham would work, and you're able to, turn around your entire organization within 1 year. So I think Detroit is on the ups, and I do believe that they won all the smoke. I'm not saying that they're going to be a championship team yet, but this is a team now headed in the right direction. And for a guy who's loved the NBA since he was born, and the Pistons being relevant for some time before, they blew the whole thing up, I'm proud of this team.
Because they, much like the Lions, have taken on that gritty identity. And I don't want to just it's an easy default of the not the Steel City, that's Pittsburgh, but the Motor City, this idea of we're grinding it out. Like, I think it's an easy default, but the way that Cade Cunningham plays the position and those pieces they brought in, RJ, I think they define that DNA. And by the way, I'd be remiss, since I'm sure there's at least one fan out there in Hooligan Nation, if I didn't mention, the Nuggets and Clippers series is going to a 7th game, too. I mean, the Clippers even the series at 3 apiece last night, and that was a 6-point game. So I do think we have seen, as much as the parity has been questioned during this postseason, I do think we've seen a couple of decent series, maybe, possibly. The hockey's been good, though. So
Yeah, we have a ton of hockey fans out there. I know that the Lightning, Panthers, people have been paying attention to that. But even beyond that.
Avalanche Stars will be a Game 7.
Yep.
So there's several Game 7s. RJ, I wanted to ask you, too, real quick, because I heard Primetime talking about this yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Maybe it was the day before it. But they were having the conversation of if adding Luka, like, kind of jacked things up for the Lakers.
No response.
What?
No response.
Because I mean, I'm honestly trying to think about that, because they asked Rob Pelinka that yesterday, I guess, during their exit meetings. No, it didn't mess anything up. You went from a team that, at best, you're saying you were the 5th seed in the Western Conference. At worst, you're a play-in team, and that was with Anthony Davis. You get Luka Doncic, and you now become, at best, the 3rd seed in the West. At worst, you're a play-in team. I just believe that the Lakers, like the Orlando Magic, I think there were just some things now in the offseason that Rob alluded to that we now have to get done. And one of that's going to be big man play. And I think you're going to have to get the right center. I do not believe that you need to go out and get an old guy. You need a guy who can block shots, rebound, and rim run.
Maybe the guy they tried to trade for, and then, well, I still don't know how you fail a physical and then still play the next week in Mark Williams.
Well, Mark, you can put a smile emoji on Twitter, but I mean, you failed your physical. Drink some milk. That's an idea. So for me, I do believe that the Lakers, there's going to be a conundrum here because now you have this iteration of Luka Doncic. This is why you got him. You didn't believe, in my opinion, that Anthony Davis is going to be your long-term answer. So you have at least 10 to 12 years of a guy in Luka Doncic where you can say we can at least create 3 to 5 iterations of this roster to help Luka Doncic compete. And he's in LA. We can kind of convince star players or just players that we feel are going to be necessary in order to win a championship. We can send them now to LA. So this offseason, just like for the Orlando Magic, this is going to be a critical one for the LA Lakers because you absolutely ran into a buzzsaw in the Minnesota Timberwolves. It kind of reminded me like the 08 series against the Boston Celtics. There were just a few guys on that Lakers team that wasn't ready for a person that's going to be looking at you in the face and not blinking. Minnesota looked at you in the face and did not blink. So LeBron James, whatever he's going to do extension-wise, if he wants to do, a 3-1 or a 2-1, that's going to be an interesting conversation in which you're going to have. What are you going to do with Austin Reeves? What are you also doing with Dorian Finney-Smith? These are guys that are extension eligible. So let's see what the LA Lakers are able to do this offseason. But in terms of messing things up, sure, just due to the fact that Luka Doncic loves having lob threats, and outside of Jackson Hayes, you didn't have a lob threat on this roster. So the Lakers now, they're saying, listen, we have time to rectify this whole entire situation, come back with a better roster, and see what we can do. But, I mean, messing what up? The Lakers were not going to be a championship team this season if they would have kept Anthony Davis. But, everybody can have their opinions. I have mine. I just think mine is more correct than others.
All right, we got to turn it over to the XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Come on, I was just going to make a PSA, but I know this is a good PSA for Coach Campo, too. Caitlin Clark plays basketball tomorrow, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Listen, when it starts to get close to mini camp and OTAs, that's when I'm at my best, I guess. I'm excited about what they're doing and the draft and the whole thing. It's time to go.
Coach rocking the ring today.
Yeah, this is one I don't wear very often. This is the first one. And it's
okay.
Michael Irvin designed it. He said, I want as many diamonds on it as I can get. It's small because, back in the day, it's a little small.
I mean, it's still pretty big, but compared to the ones now, they open up and have things inside of them.
Yeah, they're about that big like this. Yeah.
All right, so I know the Sweet 16 is over, so what will XL Primetime turn their attention to?
Well, first of all, we're going to talk draft as usual. We're still going to kind of hit every player, but also we've got Neil Brown, a former head coach at West Virginia, to talk about Milam, which I love the pick, by the way.
Good.
Yep.
He's the one lineman that I felt that could definitely, there was a tackle that definitely could play guard. And he's probably the best suited other than Membo to do that. So, hey, I think he's going to battle Ezra Cleveland, and I would not be surprised at all if he wasn't a starter this year. So we're going to hit that, and it's going to be a fun time.
Tease the folks ahead with this, Coach. Who besides the 9 draft picks, because I know you've been scouring that undrafted free agent class of 20+, who's the name that you're like, ooh, this is an interesting one?
You're talking about the new guys?
Yes.
You know what? I haven't really looked at them. I apologize.
Okay. I thought you would have already.
No, but I will. But
yeah.
I didn't quite get that far. I've been really...
We got a week. Rookie mini camp's a week from today.
That's exactly right. So, listen, we'll get it done.
All right, thanks, Coach. We'll be listening.
You got it, guys.
All right, so Taylor has American Promise. I have Luxor Cafe. And who did you end up deciding? Beza. All right, those are our horses. Good luck, everybody out there. That'll do it for us for the week. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you on Monday, but don't go anywhere. Primetime with Coach Campo is up next.